Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the man charged in a Perry County murder case is behind bars. We'll have the latest on his arrest. Plus, we are learning more about how a Central Kentucky mother who went missing months ago was murdered. And a Whitley County murder suspect is due in court later today. We'll have the latest on the case.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Tuesday, July the 16th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News this morning. Well, we are halfway through the month of July, and those temperatures just keep going up. It seems like maybe we won't even be halfway through the summer. Let's bring Brandon in to get a better breakdown of what to expect. And Brandon, hot.
Exactly. That's basically the trend of the summer, but we do get some relief tomorrow. We pay for it with rain this morning, seeing some rain, but Buffalo Mountain is quiet as we start the day here. Some rain moving in our general direction, so we could be seeing that pretty soon. Satellite and radar, you can see some showers trying to pump up there across parts of Leslie County, coming back toward Perry County and some other counties here in eastern Kentucky this morning. Temperatures upper 60s, Prestonsburg, Pikeville, Harlan, and Middlesboro. Everybody else in the low 70s this morning, so a mild morning once again. 88 your forecast high this afternoon. Better chances for those scattered showers and storms this afternoon, but as we're seeing already, we're seeing a few of those trying to get their act together this morning. We'll keep you posted on those and have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, we'll be back with you. Well, we are hoping to hear later this morning when a Perry County murder suspect will appear in court. Police arrested Anthony Lewis yesterday morning. He is charged with murder after 37-year-old Marlena Holland was found beaten to death at the Bobby Davis Park Sunday. Those with the Hope House, a homeless shelter in Hazard, say Holland stayed there when she fell on hard times. People who knew her say she liked to laugh.
There's a lot of heartbreak here at the shelter today. I've talked to so many people who have gotten to know her, and some have known her for a long time. And I had the privilege of being in the same youth group as her growing up, and so we've been to church together a lot and just have a lot of good memories.
A group set up a fund for Holland's funeral expenses. You can donate by stopping by the front desk in Hazard City Hall. Now, we dug deeper into Lewis's criminal past. Earlier this week, we told you about his convictions in the 1990s. He did receive a hefty 50-year sentence, but got out of prison on parole in 2017. Just a few months later, police say Lewis raped and robbed someone. He was set to go on trial in that Leslie County case in just a couple of days. He could have actually been in jail this weekend. However, a judge approved his release on his own recognizance. As for the conditions of his release, he needed to show up for any scheduled hearings, not be in possession of guns or knives, and commit no crimes. The judge revoked Lewis's bond yesterday morning. We learned new details about how and where a missing Central Kentucky woman was found yesterday in court. Detectives answered questions in the Savannah Spurlock murder case. Her remains were discovered last week at a home in Garrett County. Police say the land is owned by the family of David Sparks. He is charged with tampering with physical evidence and abuse of a corpse. WYMT's Phil Pendleton was in the courtroom for Sparks' preliminary hearing. He explains the detective's testimony and the questions still unanswered.
Questions are beginning to be answered in a case that has burdened the friends and family of Savannah Spurlock. But it's still not easy hearing how your best friend's body was found.
You just don't ever hope to hear anything like that. It's pretty gruesome.
Police say the body of the young mother of four was found buried 19 inches in the ground.
Concealed within multiple black trash bags. The body was unclothed. The feet were bound with tape. And the body was in an unnatural position. And by that I mean her head and feet were in the same position. She was folded over in half.
David Sparks is the only one facing charges. Police say after Spurlock went with him and others to his home on Price Court, Sparks initially told police they fell asleep in different rooms and she had left when he woke up. But police say they found evidence of a blood stain in his closet.
The sample of the blood stain was a DNA profile match to a sample of Savannah Spurlock.
But exactly what happened to cause her death is still under investigation.
Now, at any time since you first interviewed Mr. Sparks, did he come back to tell you that Savannah suffered an injury?
He did not.
I think there will probably be a little bit more charges, and, you know, the people that may have been there may be involved. But at the end of the day, I think now that we've got Savannah, I feel like it's pretty cut and dry as to what happened to her that night.
A judge did find probable cause after the hearing, and the next phase of the case will be in the grand jury's hands. In Garrett County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
No bond has been set for Sparks. He is being held in the Lincoln County Jail. One man in Whitley County will spend 10 years in prison in connection with the disappearance of Laura Anderson. Commonwealth's attorney Ronnie Bowling recommended that sentence in exchange for Joe Bauer's testimony for Anderson's actual murders and the location of her body. Investigators have not been able to find Anderson, who went missing last year. Bauer pleaded guilty to facilitation to commit murder, tampering with physical evidence, and facilitation to commit robbery charges. Now, another murder suspect is expected in court later today. Nicholas Rucker is charged in the shooting death of Vicky Connor. Rucker was caught earlier this month in Corbin after being on the run for more than 1 month. He faces additional charges, including fleeing from police and resisting arrest. In Leslie County, Alyssa Noble's trial is delayed. Jury selection would have started on the 22nd. Noble actually bonded out of jail earlier this month. She faces murder, assault, and DUI charges in connection with the 2017 crash that killed Paige Hayes and injured one other woman. As of now, there is not a new trial date. Well, in other news this morning, 2 people are facing criminal charges after they admitted to snorting drugs before driving with a child in the vehicle. Deputies with the Logan County Sheriff's Department arrested 37-year-old Timothy Caserta and 23-year-old Chelsea Calloway after they were found passed out in a car. They admitted to snorting heroin. A 5-year-old child was in the back seat. Both suspects are in the Southwestern Regional Jail. Back to Laurel County now, where 58-year-old Matthew Bubak is charged with burglary after deputies say he broke into a building in East Bernstadt. Officials say a homeowner heard noises coming from the building. When deputies arrived, they found the gentleman you see on your screen. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name again. Hiding behind a mattress. Deputies say he also ran an extension cord from the nearby home and into the building for electric. He is charged with 3rd-degree burglary. Well, a Floyd County grand jury recently indicted a man on 5 counts of criminal abuse. From the indictment, prosecutors claim Kenneth Mills abused or allowed someone to abuse his infant child between April and late June. The child received numerous fractured bones, including the ribs, both legs, and a wrist. Prosecutors also say the child had brain bleeds. A man died yesterday morning in a Magoffin County crash. State police say it appears Joe Allen lost control in a curve at Craft Creek. His car went off the road and over an embankment. Allen was from the Middle Fork area. He was 45 years old. A Pike County man also died in a crash Monday morning. Kentucky State Police say it happened around 7:30 on the Zebulon Highway in the Meta area. 72-year-old Anthony Varney was driving north when his car left the roadway and went into a large ditch. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A memorial for an officer that will never be forgotten. Eagle Scout Jacob Frantum handmade a sign in honor of fallen Pikeville police officer Scotty Hamilton. His hard work was shown off yesterday as the sign was unveiled. WYMT's Emily Bennett was at the dedication to talk about the meaning behind the project.
A lot of time.
347 hours.
And much emotion.
So he put his heart and soul into this memorial here at Scotty.
After the funeral of Pikeville police officer Scotty Hamilton, Jacob Frantum knew he wanted his Eagle Scout project to honor Hamilton.
He had actually had other ideas. He was going to do other things to be his Eagle project, and probably would have been a little bit easier, taking a little bit less time. But the emotion of everything just really took him over, and he really felt like this is something that he was called to do.
A lot of thought went into the design.
Of course, his picture and his badge, as well as his end of watch date, as well as the blue lens here. We had a couple of design changes over the course of the project.
And the materials have meaning behind them, too.
Some of Scotty's family actually gave him this wood that was a part of the old Pikeville pool, so it's got a really heart here in the city of Pikeville.
Hamilton's mom knows her son would be very pleased.
I'm sure he's up there smiling. He's watching all these kids.
And she's touched by this memorial.
Amazing. It was such amazing. He did a really good job. A lot of thought and effort went into that. He's a special young man.
Just wanting to honor a fallen hero. In Pike County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
The sign is located in front of the Pikeville Police Department.
Forecast this morning, a little bit dry for some, a little bit wet for others. Let's take a look at line pinpoint Doppler radar. But the good news is the moisture starting to kind of fall apart a little bit. We take a little closer look there down into parts of Leslie County near Hyden area. But again, we're starting to see that kind of spread out. We'll zoom out just a hair so you can see more of that. But from basically Big Creek over in Clay County to just south of Hazard, seeing a little bit of rain this morning as we head out the door. Visibility not too bad, 7 miles of visibility in Prestonsburg. 4 in Harlem. Remember, anything less than 5 miles is a dense fog, so not too much out there, at least on the sensors. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s this morning. Your app cache, you can download that to track any rain today or tomorrow, all summer long. You'll see those temperatures climb into the mid to upper 80s, close to 90 this afternoon, and scattered chances for thunderstorms firing up in the heat of the day. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, how some people in Florida ended up needing rescued after trying to perform a daring rescue attempt for 2 swimmers in trouble.
50 years ago, the Apollo 11 astronauts launched to the moon. I'm Chris Martinez at the Kennedy Space Center with a look back at the historic mission.